Hello,
Hello, hello, Swati.
how are you?
Yeah, so I think we should start it now. Hello,
Okay.
everyone. This is Shraddha Sharma, and today we are back with another amazing woman entrepreneur, Ms. Swati. Swati Maini is the founder of Maini Renewables Private Limited. And to tell a brief about the company, it is a development focused company in the field of renewable energy. They are venturing into hydropower technology that converts the kinetic energy from flowing water. The company is keen to develop vertical cross-flow turbines that could deployed in rivers and canals to generate electricity. So now I would like Swati to give a brief introduction or to tell something about herself.
So I'm just a mechanical engineer that has gone through various different fields within the industry, with aerospace engineering, then with nuclear power, and then also industrial water treatment. And then at that point, I decided that I wanted to work with hydrokinetic turbines because they were the best way to produce electricity for the future of our world and be predictable at the same time. So, I wanted to focus on that particular technology. And at that point, I also realized that it had to be a startup of its own. And therefore, I began this whole journey. Yeah.
Okay, so that's how you started the. May I know like a detail about how you got that idea that you can be a part of it, and what factors made you start with it?
So one, I was already an engineer, so I figured that I could use some of my learnings through college to develop something new and exciting. That was always something that I wanted to do all throughout college and even when I was working full time. And then then I started looking at different types of renewable energy that were out there. And at that time, I was working with nuclear power. So I wanted to find a way that was more available sustainably, renewably for our future compared to what I was working in nuclear, which you see nowadays in the news with the Ukraine war as well, that nuclear power plants are actually extremely unsafe at the moment. And any fire in any particular location can cause a lot of damage. So I was dealing with that, and I wanted to step away from it in order to come up with a new technology that was predictable. So hydropower is very predictable, whether it is in canals or in ocean currents or in river currents. So that's where I decided that I wanted to use my background as an engineer, both aerospace and mechanical, and figure out how best I can come up with a solution. So hydrokinetic was a solution that I came up with because it's available persistently, like I said, and it can be provided as a distributed form of energy rather than one concentrated power plant in one location and then a lot of energy is dissipated during transmission as well. So that's what I wanted to work towards.
Okay, so when did you started this company?
We incorporated in 2021, and
Okay.
now we are, full strength working towards the development of the product.
Okay, great. Uh, so I would like to ask that what sort of challenges or struggles you faced at the beginning when you started, or they were like different from a men entrepreneur? Like, was it different for you? Uh, there were any other challenges which you faced as a women entrepreneur?
Primarily, I think it's the seriousness of the venture that that I was undertaking. It's a power sector. Typically, you only see men in this industry. Even in our classrooms as a mechanical engineer, we only had about 2 to 3 women around us. So I was used to that. But in the industry, there's even lesser number of women. 1:100, sort of a ratio. So
Okay.
that is where you do see everybody's thought process going like, oh, you are a woman in this industry, and then on top of that, you are a founder. So there were a lot of questions initially, but and even now, every once in a while, I do hear those kind of questions and comments come up. But you have to dodge them, just like university.
Okay, so there were some common struggles which you faced. So, were there any positive or good side of being a woman entrepreneur in your journey?
Yeah, I mean, more holding hands. A lot of people came up to help as much as possible. Whoever that I have spoken to so far has been very supportive of whatever I have taken up, whether it's friends, family, everyone to pitch in and support in the entire network.
Okay, that's great. So, talking about the society, I would like to ask you that you got support from people. So, would you like to tell few things or something which you sorry for the disturbance. So something which you expect from society or people to support you as a women entrepreneur or other women entrepreneurs, how they can support women entrepreneurs and encourage them to start or to continue.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that is a positive about entrepreneurship in general is the flexibility that it offers to any entrepreneur. So I think from that perspective, it's a big plus point to be an entrepreneur because you can dictate your hours, you can dictate when you're working, when you want to be extremely serious, when is the actual launch time for your product. You have that ability to dictate those things yourself. So for that matter, I think I would encourage every woman to take that up, and
But
whatever
there,
field it may be. Yeah.
okay, so but there is there something which you expect society to do for you or to do to support you or any other entrepreneur, women entrepreneur?
I think as per society today, there is quite a lot of support to become entrepreneurs, especially I say society, but I think from the government perspective, there is a lot of
Yeah.
help that is coming up for women entrepreneurs. From the society perspective, I do think that partners, uh, could usher us in such a way that we are supported a little bit more, and
Okay.
that becomes very very important when on a personal level when you're talking to friends and family. They don't go like, oh, you can do this even later on, when are you going to have kids, and those kind of comments, when they come up, they become a mental hurdle for some time, and that's when you start to rethink your options and what you actually decided to do. So if society would reduce their comments and their interjections as to oh, you're too ambitious. Very recently I was told that I'm very very ambitious, which are snarky comments to either to undermine or to reject that you're not doing the right thing. So that's where I feel that society could change a little bit more towards adding support. But I think from the people who are already in the close knit circle understand who I am, and been extremely supportive throughout this process. One phone call and any of my friends are willing to help. So, which is a great
Okay.
thing to have. Mhm.
Okay, so I think your ambitious and your dedicated nature made people to support you. Okay, great.
So,
Great journey till now. One question I would like to ask, and I am expecting you to put a little thought on it. So, would you like people to know you as a women entrepreneur or just an entrepreneur? You want them to treat you as women entrepreneur or just entrepreneur? Like, should it be gender based or should it be just entrepreneur?
I think just an entrepreneur is probably best. I've thought about this question over the past few weeks and days as well.
Okay.
When Women's Day was coming up, and everybody was talking about women entrepreneurship, and focus groups on women-led channels and women-only groups that were coming up, and it's a little bit of a a whole in itself, and you don't understand what the rest of the industry is doing when you're talking only among these circles. And you need that inclusion in the entire net, because as soon as we exclude ourselves from the main group, then we are automatically making ourselves different and separate, and we become like the minority that
To be known as a women entrepreneur. So why not that side?
sorry, could you repeat your question?
Yeah, sure. I was saying that there are a few advantages which women get as an entrepreneur from the government or from the people. So why not? I mean, why to ignore that fact?
Yeah, no, we're not ignoring any of those facts, and we're actually trying to enroll ourselves, even as a startup, in any of those that are applicable to us. But there is a focus in the sectors that the government is also offering help. So, for example, small and medium enterprises where the focus is on khadi, or, for example, women's issues specifically, and those I really understand that do need that extra help. In tribal areas, for example,
Hmm.
you need the extra help to come up with new startups in those areas, and the government is supporting those kind of startups as well. And obviously encourage that, because those women are coming from an even underprivileged background than any of us are. So they're college educated, city born kids. So I don't feel the need to, get that, extra push is required for somebody like me. But for somebody in a rural environment where they are really fighting their friends and family to come up with something new, and looking for those extra resources, I think it matters more to them.
Okay, so according to you, it's depend upon the situation or the privileges which women get.
Mhm.
Okay, so I want to ask you that out of your experience, something majorly or something specific, very important, which you learned, which you like to convey to women or who want to become an entrepreneur or who have just started or thinking about it.
Yeah, I think.
Anything? Yeah.
Yeah. I think you have to be extremely careful of the industry. And just starting off is when everybody likes to take advantage, and that is also when they all think that as a woman you won't be very careful. So that is actually the time when you should be the most careful. So that's my biggest message to anybody getting into entrepreneurship. And I mean, both men and women combined. But women, are a little bit more vulnerable, and therefore, should not take things for granted. Like everything needs to be paperized and agreed to beforehand before getting into, business deals and agreements. So that's where I think the only place that you should pay attention to, and it goes universally. So, yeah.
Okay, okay. That's something very important. Ask any question if they feel like from Miss Swati, anything about their experience.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
I'm actually asking audience, people to ask you any question or anything. So is it make you more special to be a women entrepreneur? Like,
I don't think so. I think the work and everything that is required to be done still needs to be done. And I was given all of the opportunities that I needed to get. So I don't feel that there is any difference.
okay. So I think we have one question that in
Asking. Yeah, so I'll answer. So in India, I think the only time where it takes a little bit longer to incorporate a company, I think that becomes an issue initially because uh, all of this comes in before Startup India takes over and really holds hands and takes you forward. But the company incorporation, I think, is a slightly tricky part in India. Abroad, that is a lot more smoother, and I've incorporated in Singapore and also in the past in the US. So both of those are quite simple to do. Online processes, you don't have to go anywhere. Similarly with India too, but then there's just a lot of waiting period. And secondly, the availability of funds that is also different. The grant levels are a lot smaller in India compared to abroad. When we talk about, they generally start with about $200,000 or beyond, whereas in India, those grant amounts are quite small, 10 to 20 lakhs to start off with. And so that's where the helping hand both from the government and the people is slightly different. Um, so, and
okay.
other than that, I think in the funding scenario, for example, in the US for technologies like mine, there are at least grants available for $35 million for these kind of startups. But in India, there is no such provision because nobody has understood this so far. And we're still getting to the deep tech level, and investors typically like to invest in software as a service, SaaS based products, and more apps are in the market. So that's where I see a huge difference in investability between India and abroad.
Okay, so I think we have another question by Vidushi. What was a big obstacle to overcome? Like, what was your biggest obstacle that you overcome in your journey?
I think my biggest obstacle has been in my past where I had trusted without paperwork a few of my friends, and
Okay.
and that became a hurdle for me. And I had to basically leave that initial technology that I
Okay. Um, at last, I would like to ask you anything you would like to say in conclusion or to sum up your um experience or the call.
I think just the general message is that, if you have inspiration and the knowledge to be in a certain industry and you can solve a certain problem for people, you should be an entrepreneur. And if you have that passion towards a certain thing or a goal or a vision, you should definitely take it up, even in the smallest of forms. It doesn't have to be a full setup right at the start. You can figure it out as you go. So that is one of the biggest, suggestions I have for people, that don't wait for everything to be falling in line for you to start. So you should start as soon as you think you have at least 1 point or 2 points ready.
Okay, okay, great message for all. So I think I can conclude from this call that you need to be dedicated no matter who you are. You need to show your ambitions. Then people will definitely support you, and all the legal works. There should be all the paperwork signed and agreements.
Definitely.
So yeah, it was really great to interact with you, and thank you so much for taking some time out and here with us. And I would like to thank all the audience to take some time out and showing their interest in this. So yeah, that's all. Thank you. Thank you so much, Swati.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Shraddha.
Welcome.